All right, everybody. This video is going to be on the practice exercise, lines, arcs, and circles. All right, so once you have unzipped and opened up your file, we're going to go ahead and do the first instruction, which is to get our construction lines here in these corners, and then these red lines, the object lines on the top, bottom, left, and right. So the first thing we're going to have to do is go over to the layer switching tool, which we can find here on the layers tab. And then it's going to be in this box right here. When we drop this box down, we'll see all the layers that are available in this drawing. There's annotation, which is where these dimensions are on. There's arcs, circles, construction, and line, which are the things that we're going to draw. And then there's def points, which is not something you're going to have to worry about right now. So since we're going to go ahead and lay out the construction lines first, I'm going to go ahead and click on the construction layer, and that is going to change the style and the color of the lines that I draw, right? So as we can see here, the style of the lines, the line type is going to be dashed, and the color will be yellow. So our first line is going to go right here at 500, 600. So we all have made our lines before, so we should know how to do this. It's going to be L and then enter. 500, tab, 600, enter. This gives us a line coming off of that arrow. I want to go down. I want to go down to specify that I want my line to go down like that. And I'm going to look at this dimension here, because the line is going to go down from this arrow here to this line down here, 150 units. So I'm going to hold my mouse to track down, type 150, and press enter. And I'm still in the line tool, so I'm going to press enter to get out of it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do L enter again, hold my mouse at the top of this line, click, go left, and what's the measurement for this? If I go up, I see that it's also 150. So all of these construction lines are going to go 150 in each direction. So this one's going to go 150 down and 150 left. All right, now I can see that they want a 350 unit gap between the bottom corners and the top corners. So I'm not going to draw, okay, a 350 unit line and then make my line and delete it. Okay, that'll work. As you can see, I just did that, and that is correct. But it's clunky, it's slow, it's bad. It's just a bad habit, right? You might draw a line like that and then forget that you need to delete it later. So instead, when I press L enter to enter the line tool, I'm just going to hover over this point here and pull up without clicking. And now if I type 350, it's just going to jump to that gap there. So when I press enter, you can see it jumped that 350 unit gap without me having to make a line that I have to delete later. Much faster, much more clean. All right, so now I'm going to go 150 left and 150 up. So pull left, 150, enter. All right, I'm going to press enter again to get out of the line tool. And now I don't have to press L enter again. If you just press enter when you're not in a tool, it'll put you in the last tool that you were in. So the last tool I used was the line tool. So if I press enter, it just jumps me right into the line tool again. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up, and I'm going to press enter 3 times, okay? 1 time to make this 150 unit line. So I'm going to press enter once to make that line, enter twice to get out of the line tool, and enter 3 times to go back into the line tool. So you're going to hear me slam the enter key 3 times a lot here, because that's going to set the line, get out of the line tool, and then get ready for me to make my next line. All right. So the gap from left to right is 500. I'm going to hover my mouse here, pull to the right, 500, enter. Oop, I think I did 50. I'm going to try that again. Pull my mouse over, 500, enter. There we go. Up, 150, enter, enter, enter. Right, 150, enter, enter, enter. Okay, I could track down 350 again, or right 500 again, or even better, I'm going to track from that corner, move my mouse over here, track from this corner, and I know that this intersection is where this corner is supposed to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get this intersection, click, 150, enter, 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 down, 150, enter, enter. Just 2 enters that time. I don't need the line tool just yet because I'm going to switch first to the red line layer, because now all I need to do here is go ahead and throw in these red lines, top, bottom, left, and right, connecting to each of these corners that we made. So back to AutoCAD, I'm on my red line layer. Enter to get back in the line tool since I haven't used any other tools yet. I'm going to click here, pull down, click here, enter, enter, enter. Oop, too many enters. Click, click, enter, enter. Getting carried away with the enters. All right, click, enter, enter. Click, click, enter. All right, wonderful. Now I've got my lines up, down, left, and right, and my corners. What does Solid Professor want me to do next? Use the arc command to draw 2 arcs according to the image below and put them on the correct layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over to my layer switch and go to arcs. Okay, it's a nice like cyan color. All right, now let's look at the 2 arcs they want us to make. And let's notice some things. First, they both start and end in the same place, which is these 2 corners here. All right. It says that the larger cyan arc has this center right here. That looks like the midpoint of that line, or 750, 1100. All right. Now, it looks like this might be the center of the smaller arc, but it's not. That's for a circle. That's something that's coming up later. So instead, the smaller arc is actually just touching these corners here. So we'll do that in a moment, but first let's focus on the large arc. Okay, this is going to be a start, center, end arc. So we're going to use the start, center, end arc and click here, first click here, second click here, third click. Let's try that out in AutoCAD. I'm going to click the arc flyout tool, which is right here. It's this little arrow. I'm going to select start, center, end. Arc, start, center, end. And I'm going to click those 3 points I mentioned. Here, this corner, click. The center point here, okay? You're really going to want to make sure you're clicking on that midpoint, right? Notice how I have the little green triangle and my cursor is labeled midpoint. That's how I know I'm right. If you're too far zoomed out, you're going to click on a whole bunch of other stuff. Really get in there. Click. And now you can see, as I'm drawing my arc, it's sweeping over. Click. Perfect. That is the correct way the larger arc should be drawn. Now the smaller arc, we said, starts and ends in the same place, but it also touches the endpoints here of this red line. So how do we do that? Well, that's going to be the 3-point arc tool. Because as long as you know 3 points where your arc is going to touch, you've got an arc. Mathematically, every other part of the arc has to fall in the correct place, as long as you know at least 3 points. So I'm going to go ahead and click that arc flyout tool and choose my 3-point arc. I'm going to select the same start point, but now I'm going to select the end of this red line here. Okay. I'm I'm going to be clicking on this point right here. And now you see when I put my mouse on the end point here, it also is going to go ahead and touch without me having to click on it, this endpoint here. So we're not clicking there, but it will touch there eventually. It's just we're going to click there to finish this arc. Okay. Click. And our arc is finished. Our smaller arc touches here, here, and here, and there. We just clicked here. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. Next, it wants us to make some circles. So using the circle command, draw the 3 circles to match below, making sure to place them on the correct layer. So the first thing I'm going to do, switch to the circle layer. We're going to draw some green circles. I know that this here says red circles. Ignore that. Okay, that's a typo. Should say green there. So the larger circle is at this point here, 750, 775. And it touches. Notice how it touches each of these yellow corners. All right, so that's important. The smaller circles touch the corners and they grow out to the bottom, to the ends of these red lines, the endpoints of these red lines. So let's do the bigger one first. Center to yellow corner. This is known as a center radius circle, or it's just the default circle. When you press C, enter, you get the center radius circle. So I'm just going to do that. C for circle, enter. I'm going to zoom in. Remember, these plus signs really like to snap to the wrong spots when you're too far zoomed out. So go ahead and really zoom in so you get that triangle there. And I'm going to grow this circle out to the corner. Just like that. Click. Okay. I like to zoom in on each corner, make sure I drew it correctly. Looks good. 2 more circles. They're going to be touching the corner and going to the red line. I don't have to press C, enter again. I can just press enter because the circle was the last tool I was in. Corner of the yellow to the red line. One more time. Corner of the yellow to the red line. Okay, zoom in, make sure it's touching the right spots. It is. Perfect. So remember, one thing that's very important is on the right side of AutoCAD, before you go and take your screenshot to submit this, you must click Zoom Extents. Okay, it's a little X here with the magnifying glass. What that does is it resets your camera. Watch as I press it here. I'll just zoom in and then press Zoom Extents. And it resets my camera so that the thing that I drew is right there in the middle of the screen. And it's all zoomed in perfectly so that I can grade this and I can see everything. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is hold Windows and Shift and press the S key. Windows, Shift, S to bring up the window snipping tool. And you're going to want to press the 4th button here. Okay. The 4th button is a full screen snip. That way you get the whole screen. I want to make sure that you're signed in. I want to see that you're signed in here on AutoCAD. And I want to see your desktop's clock. Okay. If I don't see those 2 things, I'm not going to grade your assignment. All right. Once you've taken the screenshot, go ahead and submit that to practice exercise lines, arcs, and circles and get your A. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on the next assignment.